Captain Velthar's antennae twitched nervously as he checked the navigation displays one more time. The merchant ship, Gentle Current, had been traveling through empty space for 3 days now, carrying medical supplies to the outer colonies. Everything seemed peaceful. His crew of 200 moved quietly through the corridors, their soft, chittering voices barely audible above the ship's gentle hum. Velthar belonged to the Clithera, an insect-like species that had never known war. His people evolved on a quiet world with low gravity and few predators. They became traders, scientists, and artists. Violence was something they read about in history books, not something they experienced. The alarm changed everything. Red lights flooded the bridge. First Officer Rinshaw looked up from her station, her compound eyes wide with fear. "Captain, multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. They're surrounding us." Velthar felt his legs go weak. Pirates. He had heard stories but never thought he would face them. Hail them. Maybe they want to talk. But the response came in weapons fire. Energy blasts struck their engines, and the Gentle Current shuddered violently. Crew members screamed throughout the ship. The lights flickered and died, replaced by dim emergency lighting. "Engines offline," Rinsha reported, her voice shaking. "Shields failing. Captain, we have no weapons. We have nothing." Velthar knew this was true. Coalition ships did not carry weapons. Why would they? The galactic civilization had been peaceful for hundreds of years. Disagreements were solved with words and trade agreements, not violence. The pirate ships moved closer. Velthar could see them on the view screen now. 5 dark vessels covered in armor and bristling with weapons. They belonged to the Krasan Marauders, the most feared pirate group in the outer sectors. "Send a distress signal," Velthar ordered. "Send it on all frequencies. Someone has to hear us." Rinsha's fingers flew across her console. "Signal sent, Captain. It will reach Coalition Security Command, our defense outpost, and..." She paused, checking the data. "And something called Earth Patrol Station Delta 7. Earth? Velthar had heard that name. The humans. The newcomers from the Deathworld. Species across the galaxy whispered about them with a mixture of fear and curiosity. But they were far away, and the Coalition did not trust them much. It does not matter. Help will not arrive in time. The first explosion came from the cargo bay. The pirates were boarding. Velthar heard screams echoing through the ship's communication system. His people were not fighters. They had no idea how to resist. Krasan pirates poured through the breaches in the hull. They were short and thick-bodied, covered in tough scales. Each one carried energy weapons designed to stun and disable. They moved through the Gentle Current, like they owned it. Velthar tried to organize his crew, but it was useless. The Clithara scattered in panic. Some hid in cargo containers. Others simply froze in terror. Within an hour, most of the crew had been captured and herded into the main cargo bay. The pirate leader, a scarred Krasan named Krastok, stood before the prisoners. He laughed at the sight of them. "Look at you. So weak, so afraid. You will bring good money in the slave markets." Velthar stepped forward, his voice trembling but determined. "The Coalition will come for us. You will face justice." Krastok laughed harder. "The Coalition? They will form a committee, they will debate, they will write reports. By the time they decide to act, you will be sold and scattered across a dozen worlds. I have done this many times, little bug. No one ever comes." He was right, and Velthar knew it. Coalition response times were measured in weeks, not hours. Their distress call would be logged, reviewed, and assigned a priority rating. Then it would go to a committee, then another committee. By then, it would be far too late. As the hours passed, the situation grew worse. Some of the Clithera crew died simply from the stress and fear. Their fragile bodies could not handle this level of trauma. The pirates did not care. They just pushed the bodies aside and continued cataloging their captives. Velthar sat in the corner of the cargo bay, surrounded by his frightened crew. He thought about his family back home, his mate, his younglings. Would they ever know what happened to him? Rinshaw crawled over to sit beside him. "Captain, I am sorry. I sent the distress call, but no one is coming." "You did your duty," Velthar told her gently. "We all did. Sometimes that is not enough." Far away, in a different part of space, Commander Tai Yang stood on the bridge of Earth Patrol Station Delta 7. He was a tall human with sharp eyes and gray hair. He had been monitoring the edge of Coalition space for 2 years, and it had been mostly boring work. Until now. The distress signal came through his communications array with shocking clarity. Merchant vessel under attack, civilian crew, pirates, coordinates included. Tai Yang immediately opened a secure channel to Mars. "Admiral Yuna, we have a situation." Admiral Yuna appeared on his screen. She was younger than Tai Yang, but she had earned her rank through skill and determination. "Report. Distress call from a Clethara merchant ship. Pirates. They're only 2 light years from our position." Yuna's face hardened. "What's the Coalition's response time?" "According to protocols, they will need to convene a security committee. Best case scenario, 6 weeks before they even approve a rescue mission." 6 weeks. Yuna shook her head. "Those people do not have 6 weeks. They probably do not have 6 hours. Captain Hana, are you on this channel?" Another screen opened. Captain Hana commanded the destroyer, Soul's Pride. She was lean and intense, her eyes always alert. "Yes, Admiral. I heard everything. My ship can be ready to launch in 30 minutes. "Do it," Yuna said. "Spin up the entire 5th Response Fleet. We are going in." Tai Yang felt a surge of relief. This was why he served in Earth's fleet. When someone needed help, they acted. No committees, no debates, just action. But he also felt worried. "Admiral, the Coalition has not authorized this. We could face sanctions, diplomatic consequences." Yuna's expression did not change. "Commander, those are people in danger. Real people with families and lives. I will face whatever consequences come later. Right now we have a job to do. Contact all fleet commanders. Tell them to prepare for combat operations." The channel closed. Tai Yang turned to his crew. "You heard the Admiral. Battle stations. We have people to save." On the gentle current, Velthar had given up hope. He held Rinshaw's hand as more of his crew members died from shock and fear. The pirates laughed and made jokes about how weak the Clethara were. Krastalk walked through the cargo bay, counting his prizes. "At least 150 still alive. Not bad. We will leave in a few hours once we finish stripping this ship." Velthar closed his eyes. He wanted to remember his home world, the beautiful gardens, the singing trees, the peaceful life he once had. He did not know that help was already on the way. He did not know that 5 human warships were racing through space toward him. He did not know that everything was about to change. In the darkness of the cargo bay, surrounded by fear and death, Velthar waited for the end. The alarm bells rang across the Mars orbital shipyard. Admiral Yuna's order had been clear and immediate. The 5th Response Fleet would launch within the hour. Across multiple docking bays, human crews rushed to their ships with practiced efficiency. Commander Ji-ho stood in the hangar bay of the assault carrier, Gwangju's Hammer, watching his Marines prepare for deployment. 400 soldiers moved in organized chaos, checking weapons, testing armor seals, and loading equipment. These were not parade ground soldiers. They were combat veterans, trained for the worst situations imaginable. "Listen up," Ji-ho called out, and the noise dropped to silence. "We have a situation. Civilian merchant vessel under pirate attack, crew of 200, most of them probably already dead or dying. The pirates think they have all the time in the world. They think no one is coming. They are wrong." The Marines responded with a unified shout. They understood the mission. Save who they could. Stop the pirates. Do it fast. Sergeant Wu Jin checked his rifle one more time, then moved through the ranks, inspecting his squad. He was a big man, even by human standards, with scars on his face from a dozen battles. His soldiers trusted him completely. "How long until we reach them?" one young Marine asked. 4 hours, Wu Jin replied. "The pirates have had maybe 6 hours with those people. It will not be pretty when we arrive. Stay focused. Do your job. Remember your training." In the docking bay next door, Captain Hana stood on the bridge of the destroyer, Soul's Pride. Her ship was the fastest in the fleet, built for rapid response and stealth operations. The crew moved around her with quiet confidence. "Status report," Hana demanded. "All systems green, Captain," her first officer replied. "Weapons armed and ready. Stealth systems tested and operational. We can launch on your command." Hana nodded. She had been commanding warships for 10 years. She had seen combat before, both in training exercises and in the few skirmishes Earth had faced since joining the Coalition. But this felt different. This was not about territory or politics. This was about people who needed help. Her communication panel lit up. Captain Dongwu of the Busan's Fury appeared on screen. "Hana, are you ready for this? The Coalition is going to be angry." "Let them be angry," Hana said flatly. "We received a distress call. We responded. That is what people with honor do." Dongwu smiled grimly. "Agreed. See you out there." The fleet assembled in formation. 3 destroyers, 2 frigates, 1 assault carrier. By Coalition standards, it was a massive military force. By human standards, it was a standard rescue operation. Admiral Yuna watched from Mars Fleet Command as the ships powered up their drives. She had made the decision to launch. If it went wrong, her career was over. If it went right, the Coalition would still be angry. But she had learned long ago that doing the right thing often made people angry. "All ships reporting ready, Admiral," her communications officer reported. "Then send them," Yuna ordered. "And may they arrive in time." The fleet entered Quantum Slip Drive, a human modification to Coalition faster-than-light technology. Most alien species could not handle the gravitational forces involved, but humans evolved on a heavy-gravity world. Their bodies could take the stress. Inside the Soul's Pride, Hana felt the familiar pressure as the ship accelerated. Around her, the crew worked their stations. They had done this so many times it was almost routine. 4 hours to target, the navigation officer announced. Estimated pirate strength is 5 vessels, standard Krazen configuration. Hana pulled up the tactical data on her main screen. The Krazon pirates had been terrorizing Coalition space for decades. They attacked merchant ships, took slaves, and disappeared before anyone could respond. They were successful because Coalition species did not fight back. They had energy shields and stun weapons. They thought that was enough. They had never faced humans. "Tactical analysis," Hana ordered. Her tactical officer brought up a holographic display. "The Krazon ships use standard Coalition energy shields. Their weapons are primarily energy dampeners and stun fields. They rely on their victims being unable or unwilling to fight back." "And our weapons?" "Railguns firing tungsten penetrators at high velocity. Missiles with chemical explosive warheads. Close-in defense lasers. All kinetic or chemical-based systems. Their shields will not stop our weapons." Hana smiled coldly. "Good. Prepare boarding teams. I want options for getting our Marines onto that merchant ship." Far away, back on Earth, Minister Bora sat in an emergency meeting with the Coalition Diplomatic Corps. The alien ambassadors were already sending angry messages about the unauthorized military deployment. The Verdanian ambassador stood, his tall form trembling with emotion. "This is exactly what we feared from the humans. They deploy military forces without permission. They act without consulting the proper authorities. This is aggressive behavior." Bora remained calm. "We received a distress call. We responded. Is that not what civilized people do? The proper procedure is to file a report with Coalition Security Command, the Verdanian insisted. They will review the situation and determine the appropriate response. And how long does that take? Bo-Ra asked. Usually 6 to 8 weeks for situations like this. 6 to 8 weeks. Bo-Ra let that sink in. Ambassador, those people do not have 6 to 8 weeks. They have hours, maybe less. Our fleet can be there in 4 hours. Your procedures cannot. Would you prefer we follow procedures and let innocent people die? The room erupted in debate. Some species supported the human action. Others condemned it. But Bo-Ra noticed that none of them offered to send their own ships to help. None of them even suggested it. That told her everything she needed to know about the Coalition's true capabilities. On the Guangzhou's Hammer, Commander Jiho briefed his Marines on the assault plan. Holographic displays showed the layout of a standard merchant vessel. The pirates would be spread throughout the ship, with the hostages likely concentrated in the cargo bay. We go in fast and hard, Jiho explained. Boarding pods will breach the hull here, here, and here. First wave secures the hostages. Second wave clears the rest of the ship. Third wave provides medical support. Questions? A young Marine raised her hand. Sir, what if the pirates surrender? Then we accept their surrender and turn them over to Coalition authorities, Jiho said. But make no mistake, these pirates have been killing civilians for decades. They are not going to surrender easily. If they point a weapon at you or at a hostage, you end the threat. Clear? Clear, sir. Medical Officer Su Jin prepared her trauma teams. She knew what they would find. The Clethara were a fragile species. The stress and violence would have already killed many of them. Those who survived would need immediate care. Her assistant, a young medic named Quan, looked nervous. Doctor, I have never treated Clethara before. What if I make a mistake? Sujin put a hand on his shoulder. You have trained for this. You know the basics of their biology. Do your best. That is all anyone can ask. The fleet dropped out of quantum slip at the edge of the system. Immediately, sensors began scanning for the merchant vessel and the pirate ships. Target acquired, the sensor officer on the Soul's Pride announced. 1 merchant vessel, dead in space. 5 pirate vessels in close formation around it. Reading approximately 150 pirate life signs. Hostage count uncertain. Captain Hana studied the tactical display. The pirates were using the merchant ship as a shield, clustering their vessels around it. A direct assault would risk hitting the hostages. She opened a channel to the other fleet commanders. We need to draw some of those pirate ships away from the merchant vessel. Suggestions? We could use the Daegu runner as bait, Captain Dongwu suggested. Send it in broadcasting a distress signal, make it look damaged. The pirates might take the bait. Risky, Hana said, but it might work. Captain Min, are you willing? Captain Min of the frigate Daegu runner appeared on screen. He was older, with white hair and calm eyes. It would be my honor. Give me 5 minutes to prepare. The trap was set. The Daegu runner broke formation and began moving toward the pirate fleet, broadcasting false distress signals and venting atmosphere to appear damaged. To the pirates, it looked like an easy target. On the merchant vessel. Gentle current, Krastok received the alert from his sensor officer. Captain, we have a contact. Small frigate appears damaged, moving slowly. It looks like easy prey. Krastok grinned. 2 prizes in 1 day. Take 2 ships and capture it, quickly before someone else notices. 2 pirate vessels broke away from the merchant ship and accelerated toward the Daegu runner. The remaining 3 ships stayed behind, guarding their current prize. In the Soul's Pride, Captain Hana watched the pirates take the bait. Now, she whispered, all ships, execute assault plan. Show them what humans do to pirates. The 2 pirate ships chased after the Daegu runner, confident in an easy capture. Their captain, a Krazen named Zelmak, laughed as he watched the damaged frigate trying to limp away. "Look at it run! These coalition fools never learn. Prepare boarding parties." Behind them, invisible to their sensors, two human destroyers decloaked. The Soul's Pride and Jeju's Storm appeared like ghosts from the darkness of space. Their targeting systems locked onto the pirate vessels in seconds. Captain Hana gave a simple order: "Fire!" The railguns spoke with thunder that could not be heard in the vacuum of space. Tungsten rounds, each the size of a human fist, accelerated to incredible speeds. They struck the first pirate ship before its crew even knew they were under attack. The pirate shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, did nothing against solid metal traveling at relativistic speeds. The rounds punched through the hull like it was paper. Explosions rippled across the pirate vessel as the rounds tore through vital systems. "What happened?" Zelmak screamed. "Where did that come from? Shields should have stopped it." His sensor officer's voice was pure panic. "Captain, two unknown vessels behind us. They are not using energy weapons. I cannot identify their weapon type. Shields are ineffective." The second pirate ship tried to turn and fight. It managed to fire one volley of energy dampeners at the Jeju's Storm. The human destroyer's shields absorbed the attack easily. Then the Jeju's Storm returned fire with a missile barrage. The missiles were old technology by human standards, simple chemical rockets with explosive warheads. But the pirates had never seen anything like them. Their point defense systems were designed to deflect energy beams, not intercept physical projectiles moving in unpredictable patterns. 3 missiles struck home. The second pirate ship broke apart in a series of explosions. The first pirate ship, already crippled, tried to flee. Captain Hana targeted its engines with precision fire. "Disable. Do not destroy. We need prisoners for questioning." The pirate ship went dark, drifting helplessly in space. Back at the merchant vessel, Krastok watched in horror as 2 of his ships were neutralized in less than a minute. "What kind of weapons are those? Who is attacking us?" His communication officer was frantically scanning all frequencies. "Captain, I am picking up signals from the attacking vessels. The language database identifies them as human." "Humans?" Krastok had heard of them. The newcomers from the Deathworld. The species the Coalition feared. But they were supposed to be far away, restricted to their own space. "That is impossible. Humans do not operate in this sector." While the fleet engaged the outer pirate ships, the assault carrier, Guangzhou's Hammer, approached the gentle current from a different angle. Commander Ji-ho watched the merchant vessel grow larger on his view screen. Somewhere inside that ship, terrified civilians were waiting to die. "Launch boarding pods," Ji-ho ordered. 20 armored pods shot from the carrier like bullets. Each one held a team of Marines in full combat armor. The pods were small, hardened, and fast. The pirates barely had time to register them before they struck the merchant vessel's hull. The pods did not dock gently. They punched through the hull with shaped charges, creating their own entrances. Inside the gentle current, the pirates suddenly heard explosions throughout the ship. Sergeant Wu Jin was in the first pod. The shaped charge blew a hole in the wall, and his team poured through into a cargo corridor. 2 pirates stood there, shocked by the sudden breach. Wu Jin did not hesitate. His rifle fired 3-round bursts. The chemical propellants created bright flashes in the dim corridor. The first pirate fell, his body unable to handle the kinetic impact. The second pirate tried to raise his energy dampener, but Wu Jin's team cut him down before he could fire. "Corridor secure," Wu Jin reported, moving to hostage location. Throughout the ship, similar scenes played out. Human Marines breached the hull in 20 different locations. They moved through the corridors with practiced efficiency, clearing rooms and eliminating threats. The pirates had never faced opponents like this. Their energy dampeners were designed to stun opponents, not kill them. But the humans had weapons designed for Deathworld predators. The difference was horrifying. One group of pirates tried to set up a defensive position in a junction corridor. They had shields and cover, but the human Marines did not charge blindly into the ambush. Instead, they used grenades. The small explosive devices bounced around corners and detonated with sharp cracks. The pirates' shields protected them from energy weapons, but not from fragmentation. The defensive position collapsed in seconds. In the cargo bay, Captain Velthar heard the sounds of battle echoing through the ship. Gunfire, explosions, screams. The pirates guarding the hostages were panicking, shouting into their communicators and receiving no answers. Krastok grabbed Velthar and pulled him up, holding an energy dampener to his head. "Whoever is attacking, tell them to stop or I will kill the hostages." Before Velthar could respond, the cargo bay doors exploded inward. Human Marines poured through the breach, their weapons aimed and ready. The lead Marine, Sergeant Wu Jin, assessed the situation in an instant. 6 pirates. Approximately 150 hostages. The pirate leader holding a weapon to a hostage's head. "Drop your weapons," Wu Jin commanded in the coalition trade language. His translator made the words clear. Krastok pressed the energy dampener harder against Velthar's head. "You drop your weapons or this one dies." Wu Jin did not lower his rifle. "You are surrounded. Your ships are disabled. Your crew is defeated. You have one chance to surrender." "I have hostages!" Krastok screamed. "I will kill them all!" "No," Wu Jin said calmly. "You will not." The shot came from a Marine positioned to the left. A single round, precisely aimed. It struck Krastok's weapon hand, destroying the energy dampener and causing him to drop Velthar. Before the pirate leader could react, 3 more Marines had him on the ground, securing his hands. The other pirates in the cargo bay dropped their weapons immediately. They had watched their leader go down in less than a second. They had no desire to fight these armored giants. "Hostages secure," Wu Jin reported. "Cargo bay clear. Bring in the medical teams." Medical officer Su Jin rushed into the cargo bay with her team. The sight that greeted her was worse than she had feared. Many of the Clethara were already dead, their fragile bodies unable to survive the stress and trauma. Others were barely alive, their breathing shallow and rapid. "Start triage," Su Jin ordered. "Critical cases first. Work fast." Her team spread out among the survivors, assessing injuries and providing immediate care. They worked with practiced efficiency, but Su Jin could see the anger in their eyes. These were civilians who had been tortured and terrorized for hours. Captain Velthar lay on the floor where Krastok had dropped him. He looked up at the human Marine standing guard over him. The Marine was huge, at least 6 feet tall in armor. His face was hidden behind a helmet visor. "You came," Velthar whispered in amazement. "You actually came." The Marine knelt beside him. When he removed his helmet, Velthar saw a human face for the first time, scarred, weathered, but also kind. "You called for help," Sergeant Wu Jin said simply. "We do not leave people behind." Tears ran down Velthar's face. In his species, crying was rare, but he could not stop himself. "So many died. We are so weak. We could not fight back." "You are not weak," Wu Jin told him. "You are peaceful. There is a difference. You should not have to know how to fight. That is what we are for." Throughout the ship, the human Marines completed their sweep. The final count was grim. 28 pirates dead, 17 captured alive, 180 hostages rescued, 20 crew members dead before the humans arrived. Captain Hana received the reports on the bridge of the Soul's Pride. The 3 remaining pirate ships had tried to flee when they saw what happened to their companions. The human fleet disabled all 3 without destroying them. "Send a message to the prisoners," Hana ordered. "Tell them they will be turned over to coalition authorities to face justice, and someone get me a channel to Admiral Yuna." When the channel opened, Yuna's face showed relief. "Report, Captain." Mission successful, Admiral. All hostages secured. Pirates captured. 0 human casualties. The merchant vessel is heavily damaged but repairable. We are beginning evacuation of wounded to our medical facilities. Yuna nodded slowly. Good work, Captain. And the political situation? That is above my rank, Admiral, but I suspect the Coalition will have strong opinions about what we just did. Let them have opinions, Yuna said. We saved lives today. That is what matters. Begin recovery operations. I will handle the diplomats. As the human fleet secured the area, word began to spread through Coalition space. The message traveled through official channels and unofficial rumors. Humans had responded to a distress call. They had arrived in hours, not weeks. They had defeated pirates that terrorized the region for decades. They had saved lives. The reaction across the galaxy would be unprecedented. Some species would praise the action, others would condemn it. But everyone would remember one thing. The humans had answered when called for help, and the galaxy would never be quite the same. The news spread through Coalition space like wildfire. Within 12 hours, every government, news service, and diplomatic corps knew about the incident. A human military fleet had engaged pirates without authorization. They had saved a Clithera merchant vessel. They had done in 4 hours what the Coalition could not do in years. On the Clithera homeworld, Prime Speaker Veltara addressed her people from the Great Assembly Hall. Her voice was broadcast across their planet and to their colonies beyond. Today, we learned a terrible truth. We learned that our peace made us weak. We learned that evil exists in the galaxy, and it does not care about our committees or our procedures. She paused, her antennae trembling with emotion. But we also learned something beautiful. We learned that there are those who will fight for others, who will risk themselves for strangers. The humans came when we called. They came when no one else would. For this, the Clithara people will be forever grateful. The response from her people was overwhelming. Memorials were held for those who died. Celebrations were organized for those who survived, and everywhere the humans were praised as heroes. But in the Coalition Council chambers, the reaction was very different. The emergency session began with shouting. The Verdanian counselor stood at his podium, his voice filled with anger. This is exactly what we feared when we admitted Earth to the Coalition. They are aggressive. They deploy military forces without permission. They solve problems with violence. This cannot be tolerated. Other counselors joined the condemnation. The Netherian representative argued that human military capabilities should be restricted. The Zelvan counselor demanded that Earth pay reparations for the pirate ships destroyed. Minister Bora sat calmly through the accusations. She had expected this. When the room finally quieted, she stood to speak. Counselors, I have a simple question. When the gentle current sent its distress call, how long would your response have taken? The Verdanian counselor looked uncomfortable. The proper procedure requires Security Committee review, which takes approximately 6 weeks. 6 weeks, Bora repeated. And in that time, what would have happened to the crew? That is speculation, the Verdanian said. We cannot know. Actually, we can, Bora said coldly, because these pirates have been operating in Coalition space for 30 years. You have reports of 17 previous attacks. In every case, the hostages were sold into slavery or killed. The Coalition's response time allowed these pirates to operate with complete safety. They knew no one would come. She looked around the chamber. My government received a distress call. We responded in 4 hours. We saved 180 lives. We captured the pirates for you to prosecute. And you are angry because we did not ask permission first? Tell me, counselors, which is more important, following procedures or saving lives? The chamber erupted in argument. Some counselors supported Bora's position. Others insisted that proper procedure must be maintained. The debate raged for hours. Finally, the Coalition Defense Director, a Zeltharian named Zenthal, requested to speak. He was an older counselor, respected for his wisdom and military experience. I have reviewed the tactical data from the engagement. I have a question for the human minister. How did your ships defeat Krazon vessels that have evaded our forces for decades? Bora nodded to the back of the chamber. I have brought an expert to explain. Engineer Hyun Soo, please join us. A human woman walked to the center of the chamber. She was young, with sharp eyes and confident posture. She activated a holographic display showing both human and coalition ship designs. The answer is simple, Hyun Soo explained. Your technology is more advanced than ours in many ways. Your shields are sophisticated. Your sensors are powerful. Your engines are efficient. But all of your technology is designed for peace. She highlighted the coalition ship design. Your shields defend against energy weapons because that is what everyone uses. Your ships prioritize comfort and speed over armor because you do not expect to be attacked. Your weapons are non-lethal because killing is abhorrent to you. Then she showed the human ships. We design for war. Our shields defend against multiple threat types. Our ships have thick armor and redundant systems because we expect damage. Our weapons are designed to stop threats permanently. She pulled up a comparison chart. Your energy dampeners will stun most species. Our rifles will stop a charging grizzly bear. What is a grizzly bear? One counselor asked. A predator from Earth, Hyun Soo explained. It weighs 800 pounds and can run 30 miles per hour. We evolved alongside creatures like that. We built weapons to stop them. When we went to war with each other, we built even more powerful weapons. Peace is wonderful. But we never forgot how to fight. The chamber was silent. Many counselors looked disturbed by the comparison. Others looked thoughtful. Zenthal spoke again. This explains much, but it also raises a question. If humans are so powerful, so capable of violence, how do we know you will not turn that power against us? It was the question everyone had been thinking. The chamber watched Minister Bora closely. I cannot give you guarantees, Bora said honestly. Humans are capable of great violence. Our history is filled with wars, but it is also filled with moments of great compassion. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. We protect those weaker than us. Yes, we can be violent, but we choose when and why. She pointed to the tactical data still displayed. We could have destroyed those pirate ships completely. We disabled them instead. We could have killed all the pirates. We captured them for your justice system instead. Power without restraint is tyranny. We understand that. The debate continued for days. But while the politicians argued, the people of the coalition were making their own decisions. Trade delegations from dozens of species requested meetings with Earth. Defense pacts were proposed. Technology exchanges were suggested. Most significantly, individual beings across the galaxy began to see humans differently. They were no longer just the scary Deathworlders. They were protectors, warriors who fought for others. Captain Velthar experienced this change personally. He recovered in a human medical facility on Mars, where the doctors combined Earth technology with Clithera medicine to save his life. One day, Captain Hana came to visit him. Velthar struggled to sit up in his bed. Captain Hana, I wanted to thank you. You saved my life. You saved my crew. Hana pulled up a chair and sat beside his bed. You do not need to thank me. It was our duty. But why? Velthar asked. We are not allies. Our governments barely know each other. You risked your career, your ship, your crew. For what? For strangers? Hana was quiet for a moment. On Earth, we have an old saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. You were in danger. We had the ability to help. That made it our responsibility. That concept is strange to me, Velthar admitted. My people calculate everything. Risk versus reward. Cost versus benefit. We would have concluded that helping strangers was not worth the political cost. And that is why you were helpless when the pirates came, Hana said gently. Peace is wonderful, but someone must be willing to defend it. That is the burden we carry. Velthar reached out with one of his delicate hands. Hana took it carefully, aware of how fragile the Clithera were. You have our friendship now, Velthar said. The Clithera people will remember what you did. Whatever you need only ask. Over the following weeks, the political situation stabilized. The Coalition Council issued its official verdict. The human action was classified as unauthorized but justified emergency response. It was not quite an approval, but not quite a condemnation either. But the Council also made a historic decision. They invited Earth to form a new organization, the Rapid Response Division, a military force with authority to respond to emergency situations without waiting for committee approvals. Admiral Yuna received the invitation in her office on Mars. She read it carefully, then called her senior staff. Captain Hana, Commander Jiho, Minister Bora, and several others gathered around the conference table. They want us to do this officially, Yuna said, to make it permanent. But there are conditions. Mixed crews, coalition oversight, regular reporting. What do you think, Admiral? Hana asked. Yuna looked at each of them. I think this is bigger than us. This is a chance to change how the galaxy works, to show that peace requires strength. That helping others is not weakness. The coalition species will need to learn to fight, Commander Jiho pointed out. They are not built for it. Many will struggle. Then we teach them, Yuna said. We show them that violence is a tool, not a lifestyle. That power comes with responsibility, that being a warrior means protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Minister Bora smiled. I will present our acceptance to the Council, but we do this our way. When someone calls for help, we answer. No delays, no committees, just action. The vote was unanimous. Earth would form the Rapid Response Division. The galaxy would have defenders who answered when called. The age of passive peace was ending. The age of defended peace was beginning. And it all started with one distress call and the humans who answered it. 6 months passed since the rescue of the gentle current. The galaxy had changed in ways both obvious and subtle. The Rapid Response Division headquarters on Luna bustled with activity as species from across the coalition worked alongside humans. Admiral Yuna stood in the command center, watching the main display screen. It showed the positions of RRD ships throughout coalition space. 3 destroyers here, 2 frigates there, an assault carrier in reserve. They were ready to respond at a moment's notice. Lieutenant Myung, a young human officer, approached with a tablet. Admiral, we have a situation report from the training facility. The first mixed species unit has completed basic training. Yuna took the tablet and reviewed the data. 46 graduates, 12 different species. They had learned to work together, combining human combat skills with alien expertise in technology, medicine, and diplomacy. How many passed the final exercise? All of them, Admiral, though the Clithara struggled with the physical requirements. Yuna nodded. That was expected. The Clithara were fragile by nature, but they brought other skills: intelligence gathering, communication, medical knowledge. War was not just about shooting. Assign them to the support divisions. Everyone contributes according to their abilities. The training program had been controversial. Many coalition species questioned why they needed military training at all. But after seeing what the pirates had done and what humans could do in response, attitudes changed. Commander Jiho ran the training facility with firm but fair discipline. He stood now in front of a new class of recruits. 20 beings from 8 different species stood in uneven ranks. They looked nervous. They should be. You are here to learn how to protect others, Jiho began. Not how to conquer, not how to dominate, but how to stand between innocent people and those who would harm them. This will be hard. Many of you come from species that have never known violence. You will learn things that frighten you, but you will also learn that courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite fear. An Etherian recruit raised a tentacle. Commander, my species has no natural weapons, no claws, no teeth, no strength. How can we fight? Jiho smiled slightly. Humans had no natural weapons either. No claws sharper than a predator's, no teeth stronger than a carnivore's, no armor thicker than a rhino's. But we learned to make tools. We learned to work together. We learned that intelligence and determination can overcome physical limitations. You will learn the same. Captain Hana commanded the destroyer Soul's Pride, now the flagship of the RRD strike fleet. Her crew was mixed species now. Her first officer was a Zeltharian named Talven. Her tactical officer was human. Her communications officer was Clethara. They worked together smoothly, each bringing their unique skills. Captain, we have an incoming distress call, Talven reported. Research station near the Vortex Nebula. They report their station is breaking apart. Unknown cause. Hana was on her feet immediately. How many people on that station? 73 researchers, 17 different species. They have maybe 6 hours before the station fails completely. Set course for the Vortex Nebula. Maximum speed. Alert the fleet. This is exactly what we trained for. Hana opened a channel to Admiral Yuna. Admiral, we have a situation. Yuna appeared on screen. I saw the alert. The Vortex Nebula is difficult to navigate. High radiation, unstable space. Can you get there in time? We will find a way, Hana promised. That is what we do now. The Soul's Pride raced through space with 2 frigates as escort. When they arrived at the nebula, they found the situation worse than reported. The research station was indeed breaking apart, but not from mechanical failure. Something was attacking it. Scan for hostiles, Hana ordered. The sensor officer, a Etherian named Rix Tal, worked his console frantically. Captain, I am detecting multiple small craft. They match the signature of Torvan raiders. Scavengers who prey on disabled ships. How many? At least 20 small vessels. They are cutting the station apart to steal the research equipment. They do not care that people are still inside. Hana felt anger burn cold in her chest. 6 months ago, raiders like these operated with impunity. No more. Battle stations, send them a message. Tell them to withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The message was sent. The response was laughter. The Torvan raiders had never faced serious opposition before. They thought the humans were bluffing. They learned otherwise. The Soul's Pride opened fire with precision strikes, not to kill, but to disable. Railgun rounds punched through raider engines. Missiles struck weapon systems. Within 3 minutes, half the raider fleet was drifting helplessly. The remaining raiders tried to flee. The human frigates cut off their escape routes. One by one, the raiders were disabled and their crews taken prisoner. But the real challenge was the station itself. It was breaking apart rapidly. Sergeant Wu Jin led a Marine team in rescue operations. They moved through the damaged station, finding researchers trapped in collapsed sections. One research lab held 5 scientists from different species. The door was jammed, and the room was losing atmosphere. Wu Jin's team cut through the door with plasma torches, then rushed in with emergency suits for the survivors. A young Clethera scientist named Rin Tel looked up at the armored Marine with wide eyes. Are you human? Yes, Wu Jin said, helping her into the emergency suit. You are safe now. We are getting everyone out. I have heard stories about your people, Rin Tel said. They say you are warriors who protect others. That is what we try to be, Wu Jin replied. He lifted her gently and carried her toward the evacuation point. Despite his strength and armor, he was careful not to hurt her fragile body. All 73 researchers were rescued. 0 casualties. The raiders were captured and turned over to coalition authorities. Another successful mission. But across the galaxy, the real change was happening in thousands of small ways. Human ships patrolled trade routes that had been dangerous for decades. Pirate attacks dropped by 80%. Species that had feared to travel now moved freely. The Clithera opened their greatest medical research facilities to human scientists. The exchange of knowledge saved countless lives. Diseases that plagued humans for centuries were cured with Clithera biotechnology. Injuries that would have killed Clithera were treated with human emergency medicine. Captain Velthar, now recovered, commanded a new merchant vessel. But this one was different. Half the crew was Clithara, half was human. They learned from each other. The Clithara taught the humans patience and careful thinking. The humans taught the Clithera courage and quick action. On his first trade run, Velthar encountered a distress call. An old instinct made him want to ignore it, to avoid danger. But then he remembered the humans who saved him. He remembered Captain Hana's words. When someone needs help, we answer. Velthar ordered his ship to respond. When they arrived, they found a small colony ship with engine failure. Nothing dangerous, just people who needed help. His human crew members worked with the Clithara to repair the engines and get the colony ship moving again. It was a small thing, but it was important. The idea was spreading. Help others, protect the weak, stand against evil. These were human concepts, but they were becoming galactic concepts. Minister Bo-Ra now sat on the Coalition High Council as Earth's permanent representative. She worked to spread these ideas through policy and diplomacy, but she knew the real change came from individual actions, not government orders. One day she received an unusual alert. Long-range sensors had detected something at the edge of Coalition space, an armada, hundreds of ships, unknown design, unknown purpose. They were heading toward Coalition space at steady speed. The Coalition Council convened an emergency session. Fear filled the chamber. Some species wanted to send diplomatic messages. Others suggested hiding and hoping the armada would pass by. A few proposed immediate surrender. Admiral Yuna was called before the council. "Admiral, can the Rapid Response Division stop this threat?" Yuna looked at the data. The armada was massive, powerful, unknown. "I do not know," she admitted honestly. "But we will try. That is what we do." The Verdanian counselor, who had opposed human military power 6 months ago, spoke up. "We have lived in peace for so long we forgot how to defend ourselves. We need the Deathworlders. We need those who remember how to fight." It was a stunning admission, but others nodded in agreement. The galaxy had changed. They no longer feared human strength. They needed it. Admiral Yuna began mobilizing the defense fleet. Human ships formed the core, but now they were joined by vessels from dozens of species. The shipyards of Luna, Mars, and Europa worked constantly. New ships launched every day, but this was not just a human fleet anymore. It was a coalition fleet, united by a common purpose, defending each other, protecting the innocent, standing against threats together. Commander Jiho trained an entire generation of warriors from peaceful species. They were not human. They would never be human. But they learned human lessons: courage, sacrifice, the willingness to fight for others. Medical officer Su Jin prepared trauma teams with mixed-species doctors and medics. They would save lives in the coming conflict, combining the best knowledge from across the galaxy. Captain Hana stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, surrounded by her mixed crew. They worked together perfectly now. Each species contributed their strengths. Each individual played their part. She opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, this is Commodore Hana. We do not know what is coming. We do not know if we can stop it. But we know why we fight. We fight for each other. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. We fight because someone has to stand between innocent people and those who would harm them." She paused, looking at her crew. Human, Clithera, Zeltharian, Hytherian, all of them ready, all of them brave. We are not just humans anymore. We are not just one species. We are the defenders of the coalition, and when the innocent call for help, we answer. That is who we are. That is what we do. The fleet moved out toward the unknown armada. Earth's ships led the way, but they were not alone. Behind them came the full strength of the coalition. Species that had lived in peace were now ready to fight for that peace. Admiral Yuna watched the fleet depart from her command center on Luna. She thought about that first distress call 6 months ago. One merchant ship under attack. One decision to help strangers. That choice changed everything. The galaxy would face whatever came together, united by a simple idea. When someone needs help, you answer. You do not hesitate. You do not calculate. You do not wait. You act. That was the human way, and now it was becoming the galaxy's way. The unknown armada approached. The coalition fleet stood ready. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. Humans and aliens, warriors and civilians, the strong protecting the weak. Because that is what one does. That is what heroes do. And in answering one distress call, humanity had taught the galaxy how to be heroes. The new order had begun. A galaxy defended by those willing to fight. A civilization protected by those strong enough to stand against darkness. A future where calling for help meant someone would always answer. Always.